Hey everybody, it's me Lexi, and today we are trying something new. We are going to be doing a character creator, and we're going to start off strong with a crafter. Now, if your DM allows it, you can pick up Kibble's crafting guide for free. All you gotta do is Google it, and there is a PDF. This is for 5e, so 3.5 already has a really good crafting system. I don't know about 4.0 because I never played 4.0. But 5e, this is the crafting guide for it, and of course it is third party, so your DM has to allow it. We're going to go down here to page 5, and these are the tools related to each profession and the related ability scores. Now, we're not going to pick up rune carving right here because we don't know what tool is needed for it. It's typically blacksmithing, but it depends on your DM. Enchanting doesn't use a tool, it uses a skill, so that's easy to get. And we're not going to get cooking. Cooking is very useful, but we are going to be getting everything else. So we had to choose one to not get. So let's get into the build. So first we're going to start out with a mountain dwarf. And what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of some proficiencies. We are going to get rid of the dwarven combat training. We're going to get rid of the tool proficiency because it's just brewer's supplies or mason's tools. And we're going to get rid of the armor training. And what we do is we go over to Origin Manager and we just click the ones that we don't want anymore. So that is Dwarven armor training, tool proficiency, and Dwarven combat training. And we're going to get 4 tools from Dwarven combat training because we got rid of 4 different weapons that we're not going to be using. We're going to be getting 1 tool proficiency with getting rid of the tool proficiency that it came with. We're just going to get a more useful one. And we're getting rid of armor training because we're going to get armor training through our class. And we are going to be a forge domain cleric. So we are going to get blacksmith's tools or smithing tools, depending on, what you want to say, through our class. So I went ahead and picked up jeweler's tools, wood carver's tools, carpenter's tools, leatherworking tools, a poisoner's kit, alchemist supplies, and calligrapher's tools. So that just leaves Arcana, the skill, and Tinker's tools. So let's go over to our description and pick up those proficiencies. So we are going to be a guild artisan / guild merchant. The skills that you get are persuasion and insight, but I took insight as the cleric, so it let me pick something else, so I chose Arcana. And of course, we're going to get our last tool proficiency, which is Tinker's tools. Now let's hop over to class because we get some pretty cool stuff. One thing we're going to get is guidance, which depending on your DM, you may or may not be able to cast guidance for crafting because crafting takes 2 hours. You'd have to have it up the whole time, and depending on the DM, they may say that slows down everything because that's 1 action every minute. And, if your DM wants to do that, that's okay. But they also say, some DMs also say that bardic inspiration cannot be used because you'd have to have it up the whole time that you're crafting. Even though you just make the 1 crafting check after the crafting is done. So I have us at level 8 because there are 2 feats that I want to take. First one is Careful Crafter. You will be making all ability checks for crafting with advantage. That is worth it right there. Having advantage on each of your crafting checks, worth. If you fail to successfully craft an item, the amount of time it took to complete the process is halved. So that's really good. So you don't waste your whole time. You can just start a new item, depending on what you're doing. And anyone assisting you in crafting an item also gains advantage in their ability checks for crafting, which is pretty cool if someone's using the help action with you. Typically, that halves the time, but it just depends on your DM as to what it does for you. So our next feat is Adroit Crafter, if that is how you pronounce it. The time it takes for you to craft an item that you are proficient with, the skills or the tools, is halved. So a potion typically takes 2 hours, so this will take 1 hour to brew a potion, which is really cool because then you can brew 2 potions in the same amount of time. Duh. I don't know why I just said that, but you know. But also, if you fail to successfully craft an item that would lose components, you retain the components instead. So that's also really, really good. So these are the 2 crafting feats that I really, really like. They're the only 2 that I've really found besides Chef. And of course, you can always pick up Chef at any time to get that last crafting skill. So we're going to go over to abilities. As a mountain dwarf, we get +2 to strength and +2 to con. We do not want a negative con, so I went ahead and put 2 points into con. We don't need charisma at all, so I left it the same. 14 points into wisdom because we are a cleric. 14 points into dexterity because that's one of the most needed skills for crafting. Strength because we are going to be in combat, and intelligence because that is another skill that we're going to need for crafting. Charisma we don't need, but I couldn't take it down lower than an 8. And you don't really want a 6 in charisma either. That just hinders your ability to really roleplay a lot. I do have a 6 charisma character, and it is my excuse to be rude and ignore social interactions completely and just be, like I said, rude. But not everyone wants to roleplay that, and having an 8 charisma is okay. So let's go over to see how our character looks. So let me put my chainmail back on instead of the plate. So we're going to pick up a shield and a mace. So the shield gives us +2 AC. We're going to have chainmail because we start out with chainmail, which gives us a 16 AC. So that is an 18 AC right there, right off the bat. Now you get a +1 to your AC at level 6 for being a Forged Domain Cleric. Now later on, you can get plate, which will put our AC at 21 from non-magical armor, which I believe is really, really good. We have a mace, so we're good at combat. And remember, this is a not magical mace. This is just base damage, base to hit. So I think we're looking pretty good for a character. And now you see that we have advantage on all these. That's not true. It does that because D&D Beyond doesn't know how to do crafting, which is okay. It is a third party thing, so you can't really blame it. But whenever you were to roll a crafting check, you use your skill that you're using it with, your ability modifier, plus your proficiency bonus if you're proficient in it. And of course, you roll that with advantage. I think this is a pretty good character. I hope you guys do too, and I hope you guys enjoyed.